Castles are some of the most fascinating structures in history, built not just for royalty, but also for defense and power. Most medieval castles were constructed from the 9th to the 15th centuries, primarily across Europe. They served as fortified homes for kings, nobles, and military leaders. One interesting fact is that early castles were made of wood, and only later were they rebuilt in stone for better protection against fire and siege weapons. Castles often featured moats, deep waterfall ditches, drawbridges, and high walls with arrow slits to keep enemies out. The spiral staircases in castles were designed to give right-handed defenders an advantage when fighting upward against intruders. Many castles also had secret passages and hidden rooms used for escaping or hiding treasures. Besides their military purpose, castles were symbols of power and control, often built on hills or cliffs to show dominance over the land. Today, thousands of castles still stand across the world, each carrying stories of war, romance, betrayal, and mystery. Castles were built mainly for protection, power, and residence. During the medieval period, especially in Europe, kingdoms and territories were constantly under threat from invaders, rival nobles, and rebels. So castles acted as fortified strongholds to defend the ruling family, soldiers, and local people during attacks. Their high walls, towers, drawbridges, and moats made them very difficult to conquer. Apart from defense, castles were also symbols of royal or noble power. They showed the wealth and authority of the person who built or owned it. Strategically, castles were often built on hills or near rivers to give military advantage and to control important routes or lands. Inside, they were also homes for kings, lords, and knights, complete with living quarters, halls, chapels, and storerooms. So, castles were not just military buildings, they were centers of control, administration, and life in medieval times. But have you heard about Houska Castle in the Czech Republic? It is one of the most chilling and mysterious tales in European history. Built in the 13th century during the reign of Ottokar II of Bohemia, the castle stands in a remote forested area, away from trade routes and cities, which is strange for medieval castles that were usually built for strategic or defensive reasons. What makes Houska Castle truly eerie is the legend that it was constructed to seal a gateway to hell. According to old stories, a huge bottomless pit existed on the site long before the castle was built. Locals believed terrifying demonic creatures and half-human beasts would crawl out of the hole at night and attack nearby villages. To test how deep and dangerous the pit was, a prisoner was once lowered into it. But within minutes, he screamed in terror, was pulled back up, and found to have aged rapidly and gone insane. To stop these horrors, the castle was supposedly built not for defense from outside enemies, but to contain the evil inside. Its chapel was constructed directly over the pit, and many of the castle's windows and gates are oddly sealed from the inside, another sign that it was meant to trap something within. Over centuries, Houska Castle has seen many strange events. During World War II, the Nazis took over the castle and were said to have conducted occult experiments there. Locals even reported seeing dark rituals and strange lights. The Nazis were particularly interested in Houska Castle because of its dark legends and reputation as a gateway to hell. And this ties deeply into their obsession with the occult, supernatural, and mystical power. Under leaders like Heinrich Himmler, some factions within the Nazi regime believed in ancient forces, hidden knowledge, and magical relics that could give them ultimate power or victory in war. They were fascinated by anything that connected to demonic portals, esoteric rituals, and ancient energy sources. Houska Castle, with its bizarre structure, sealed windows, inward-facing defenses, and a chapel built over a mysterious bottomless pit, fit their interests perfectly. The legend that it was built to trap evil forces coming from the underworld made it a potential site for occult experiments or rituals. Locals during World War II reported strange lights at night, secret Nazi gatherings, and rumors of sacrifices or dark ceremonies being held there. Some believe the Najis were either trying to tap into the supposed hellish energy or study paranormal phenomena for their own purposes. Even though there's no solid proof of what exactly happened, the link between Nazi occultism and the haunted history of Houska Castle has turned it into one of the creepiest real-life mysteries of the war era. According to legend, there is a real deep hole beneath Houska Castle. But whether it's truly bottomless or even still accessible is unclear today. Before the castle was built in the 13th century, locals believed that the site contained a massive, seemingly bottomless pit that was so deep no one could see the bottom. It was called the gateway to hell because terrifying, inhuman creatures were said to emerge from it, half animal, half human beings that attacked people and caused chaos. Locals were terrified of the area, and animals avoided it completely. When the castle was constructed, the chapel was built directly over this pit to seal it and stop the supposed evil from escaping. Today, the actual pit is not visible to visitors, and historians aren't sure if it was filled in, hidden, or simply symbolic. Some believe it might have been a natural limestone cave or sinkhole, but its true depth and nature remain a mystery, fueling the castle's haunted reputation. The paintings on the walls of the chapel inside Houska Castle are among the most mysterious and unsettling parts of the entire structure. These medieval frescoes are not only rare for their time, but also unusual in content, sparking curiosity and fear among historians and visitors alike. One of the most famous and bizarre paintings is of a creature that looks like a centaur or demon. But what's truly shocking is that it's shooting an arrow into the neck of a human figure using its left hand. In medieval Christian art, the left hand was often associated with the devil or evil, so this detail is seen as a sign of dark symbolism. Some believe the image represents the constant threat of sin, or even references the demonic forces believed to come from the pit below. Other paintings depict strange beasts, ghosts, and unnatural figures that are not common in traditional Christian artwork. The use of violent imagery, mythical creatures, and symbols of chaos inside a chapel, which should be a sacred and peaceful space, only adds to the airy nature of the castle. There's also a painting of Archangel Michael inside Houska Castle, and it's quite mysterious, just like everything else in the castle. Archangel Michael, known as the chief warrior of heaven, is usually depicted in Christian art defeating evil, especially Satan or dark spirits. His presence in Houska Castle, especially painted right above the alleged gateway to hell, is very symbolic. In the chapel, Archangel Michael is shown as a protector, standing guard over the sealed pit. This fits the belief that the castle was not built to keep enemies out, but to seal the evil inside the earth. His image is likely meant to represent spiritual defense, keeping demonic forces locked beneath the surface. What makes this even more intense is that the chapel was placed exactly over the legendary hole, and Michael's painting serves like a celestial seal, reinforcing the idea that divine protection was needed to contain whatever was down there. It's not a decorative painting. It feels more like a warning and a prayer for protection. In short, the painting of Archangel Michael in Houska Castle isn't just religious. It's deeply tied to the terrifying legend of the castle being built over a portal to hell, with Michael as the divine warrior standing between our world and what lies beneath. These paintings were likely created in the 14th century, and their content has led many to believe that Houska Castle was built not just as a fortress, but as a spiritual seal to trap evil forces. The artwork seems to reflect the same idea, that this place was not made to keep people safe from the outside, but to keep something terrifying locked inside. Visitors to Houska Castle have reported chilling and paranormal experiences that match its dark legends. Many who have toured the castle say they felt an unexplainable sense of dread, especially near the chapel, which was built directly over the alleged gateway to hell. Some people claim that the atmosphere becomes heavy, almost as if the air itself is pressing down on them, and some even feel suddenly nauseous or dizzy without any medical reason. Several visitors have described hearing footsteps, whispers, and strange growling noises, even when no one else was nearby. Some say they heard screams from underground, as if someone was trapped below. In some cases, people said they saw shadowy figures or dark silhouettes moving the corners of rooms or behind doors, especially in the upper floors and dungeons. One of the most commonly reported sightings is of a black-winged creature, possibly resembling the demon-like beings said to have once emerged from the hole. Others have captured ghostly orbs and shapes in photographs, even when nothing was visible to the naked eye. Even skeptics have left Houska Castle feeling uncomfortable. Paranormal investigators have visited the site multiple times, and many of their electronic devices, like EMF detectors and spirit boxes, picked up strange signals and voices. What makes it creepier is that many of these experiences happen in broad daylight, not just at night. The energy around the castle is often described as unnatural, as though something old and dark is still lurking beneath the surface, waiting. Today, visitors and paranormal investigators report ghost sightings, unexplained noises, and a feeling of dread inside the castle. So while it was built as a real Gothic structure, the purpose and legends of Houska Castle make it one of the most haunted and mysterious places in the world.